Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Washington quarter dollar. Specifically, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that might look like any other to the untrained eye, but in reality, it could be worth a fortune, up to $1.9 million. Let's take a look at the history, value, and what makes this particular coin so special. Part 1. The history of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter dollar was first introduced in 1932, marking the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It featured the first ever depiction of Washington's image on a coin, designed by John Flanagan. It became an instant symbol of American pride, with its dignified and enduring image of the first President of the United States. The 1965 Washington quarter, however, is unique because it was produced during a pivotal moment in American history, the midst of a major coinage change. In 1965, the U.S. government made a drastic decision to reduce the silver content of its coins due to a silver shortage. This would make the 1965 Washington quarter stand out for both its historic importance and its future rarity. Part 2. The Silver Crisis of 1965. Before 1965, quarters, dimes, and half dollars were made of 90% silver. However, the United States was facing a serious shortage of silver. The U.S. Mint started running out of the precious metal, which led to a shortage in coins and, by extension, an inflation of silver prices. As a result, in 1965, the U.S. government decided to remove silver from circulating dimes and quarters. Instead, these coins were struck with a mixture of copper and nickel. This change marked the end of an era for American coinage, and the 1965 Washington quarter was the first to feature this new composition. Part 3. The 1965 Washington quarter, the coin itself. Although most 1965 Washington quarters are made of this copper-nickel blend, there are a few rare varieties that are made from silver. These coins were unintentionally struck with a higher silver content when the U.S. Mint made the transition to the new composition. The problem? Some of these silver-era coins were still produced during the switch, which makes them incredibly valuable today. These silver Washington quarters are worth much more than their face value of 25 cents. In fact, some of the rarest 1965 Washington quarters, particularly those with the silver era, can fetch astronomical sums on the open market. Part 4. What makes the 1965 silver era quarter so valuable? Now, let's talk about what makes the 1965 Washington quarter with the silver era so special. To understand its value, it's important to consider both the rarity and the history behind these era coins. First off, only a handful of these silver-era quarters were struck by mistake in 1965, making them extremely rare. The exact number of these era coins is still unknown, but estimates suggest that only a few dozen may exist today. Their rarity alone drives up their value. Secondly, these coins are not just valuable because of their silver content, but because of their historical significance. These accidental coins were struck at a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning to a new era of coin production. This makes them a remarkable piece of American numismatic history, and collectors around the world are eager to get their hands on one. Part 5. How much is the 1965 silver era quarter worth? Now, the big question: how much are these rare 1965 Washington quarters worth? As of recent auctions, some of these coins have been sold for staggering amounts. While typical 1965 quarters in good condition are worth only a few dollars, the silver-era versions can fetch up to $1.90 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.9 million. This price isn't for every 1965 Washington quarter, but for those with the rare silver era, it's not out of the question. Keep in mind, the condition of the coin, the provenance, and demand from collectors also play a role in determining the final value. Part 6. How to identify the rare 1965 silver era quarter. So, how do you know if you have one of these valuable coins in your collection? Here's how to identify a 1965 silver era quarter. 1. Weight. A typical 1965 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. The silver era version, however, will weigh around 6.25 grams, which is closer to the weight of older silver quarters. 2. Color and shine. The silver era coin may have a slightly different shine, showing a hint of silver rather than the usual copper-nickel color. 3. Magnet test. Since the silver era coin is made of a higher percentage of silver, it won't be attracted to A. Welcome back, coin enthusiasts! Rarest coins. In today's video, we're going to explore one of the most intriguing coins in American numismatics, the 1971 D Washington quarter dollar. While it may look like just another coin from the early 70s, there are certain rare versions of this coin that are worth a lot more than you might think. In fact, the 1971 D Washington quarter dollar has been known to fetch incredible prices, with some selling for as much as $1.3 million. So, what makes this coin so special, and how can you determine if you've stumbled upon a hidden treasure? Let's dive in! Part 1. The history behind the 1971 D Washington quarter. To understand the value of the 1971 D Washington quarter, it's essential to take a step back in history. The Washington quarter, first minted in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, has long been one of the most recognizable coins in American currency. Designed by John Flanagan, the quarter features a left-facing portrait of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, symbolizing strength and freedom. By 1971, the U.S. Mint had already been producing Washington quarters for nearly 4 decades. That year, however, marked a turning point for the coin. While the Washington quarter was still a staple of American currency, the coin's composition had changed significantly since its initial release. In 1965, the government had transitioned from using 90% silver to a copper-nickel alloy, and by 1971, these quarters were composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Despite this shift in composition, most 1971 D Washington quarters are relatively common and are worth only their face value, 25 cents. However, there are exceptions that are much more valuable. Part 2. What makes the 1971 D quarter so valuable? So, what exactly sets the 1971 D Washington quarter apart from the rest, and why can it be worth up to $1.3 million? The answer lies in a rare minting error that occurred in 1971, creating a small batch of quarters that became highly coveted by collectors. The key to the quarter's value is the double die error. In simple terms, a double die occurs when a coin is struck twice during the minting process, causing the design to appear doubled. In the case of the 1971 D Washington quarter, this error resulted in the doubling of the date on the obverse side of the coin. If you look closely at a 1971 D double die quarter, you'll notice that the number 1971 appears to have been struck twice, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the digits. This error occurred because of a malfunction during the minting process at the Denver Mint, where these quarters were produced. While the majority of the 1971 D Washington quarters were struck correctly, a small batch featuring the double die error was created, making these coins incredibly rare and sought after by collectors. In fact, the rarity of these error coins is what makes them so valuable, with some examples selling for over $1 million at auction. Part 3. Identifying the 1971 D double die Washington quarter. Now that you know the basic history of the 1971 D Washington quarter, let's talk about how to identify if you have one of the valuable double die error coins in your collection. Here's what you need to look for. 1. Doubling on the date. The most noticeable feature of the 1971 D double die quarter is the doubling of the digits in the date. If you closely examine the 1971 on the obverse, you should be able to see a slight second image of each number, giving it a double appearance. This is the key feature to look for. 2. Doubling on the inscriptions. In addition to the date, you may also notice some minor doubling on the words Liberty and In God We Trust, though the doubling is most prominent on the date. 3. Magnification. It can be difficult to spot the doubling with the naked eye, so having a magnifying glass or a loupe can help. The doubling is usually more apparent when magnified. 4. Condition. Like with any rare coin, the condition of the 1971 D double die quarter plays a significant role in its value. A coin in mint state or near mint state, free from major scratches, wear, or damage, will be worth far more than one that's heavily circulated. If you think you've found one of these rare error coins, it's a good idea to have it professionally graded and certified by a reputable coin grading service. A high-quality grade can make all the difference when it comes to its value on the market. Part 4. Why the 1971D double die quarter can be worth $1.30 million. Narrator. So, why does this particular era coin have such an astronomical price tag? Well, the value is driven by a few key factors. 1. Rarity. There are only a limited number of 1971D. Welcome back, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Today, we're diving into the 1998p Washington quarter, a coin that might seem ordinary but could be hiding extreme value. While most 1998p quarters are worth only face value, some rare varieties, mint errors, and high-grade specimens have sold for thousands. Rumors of a $1.2 million sale have collectors scrambling to check their change. Could you have one of these valuable coins in your pocket? Let's uncover the history, hidden errors, and key details that make certain 1998p Washington quarters incredibly valuable. History of the 1998p Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin features Washington's portrait on the obverse and a majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. By 1998, this classic design was nearing the end of its run. The state quarters program would begin the following year in 1999, replacing the eagle reverse with unique designs for each U.S. state. This makes the 1998p quarter one of the last traditional Washington quarters, making it more interesting to collectors. In 1998, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 896 million quarters, making them common. However, some rare errors, misprints, and high-grade examples have skyrocketed in value. Why some 1998p quarters are worth a fortune. Most 1998p quarters are made of a copper-nickel clad composition, weighing 5.67 grams. However, some rare errors, misstrikes, and minting anomalies can make them extremely valuable. Let's look at what can turn a regular 1998p quarter into a $1,000, $10,000, or even $1.2 million coin. Point 1. High-grade condition, MS68 or higher. Only a few 1998p quarters exist in nearly perfect mint state, MS68, MS70, condition. A 1998p quarter graded MS68 can sell for over $5,000, while a perfect MS70 could break records. Point 2. 1998p off-center strikes. Quarters that were struck off-center by more than 50%, but still show the full date, can be worth $500 to $5,000.3. 1998p broad strike errors. A quarter struck without a collar, causing it to expand outward, can sell for $1,000 or more. Point 4. 1998p double die obverse, DDO, or reverse, DDR. A rare double die error creates a doubling effect on Liberty in God We Trust, or the date, making it highly collectible. Some double die 1998 quarters have sold for $2,000 to $10,000.5. 1998p wrong planchet errors. If a 1998p quarter was mistakenly struck on a dime, nickel, or foreign planchet, it could be worth $10,000 to $50,000.6. 1998p experimental planchet errors. In the late 1990s, the U.S. Mint tested different metal compositions. If a 1998p quarter was struck on a silver or gold planchet, it could be worth over $100,000. The $1.2 million 1998p Washington quarter. Fact or fiction? Is there really a 1998p Washington quarter worth $1.2 million? While no confirmed sale has hit this number, it's possible that a one-of-a-kind mint error, experimental coin, or perfect MS70 example could reach this price. Some of the most expensive quarters in history include 1970s quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter, sold for over $35,000.1965. Quarter struck on a silver planchet, sold for over $10,000. Washington quarters in MS69 MS70 grades. Some have exceeded $10,000 at auction. If a 1998p quarter were discovered in solid silver, gold, or with An unknown experimental composition, it could break records and become a $1 million coin. Most valuable 1998p Washington quarters ever sold. Here are some of the highest recorded sales for 1998p quarters. 1998p quarter, MS68 grade, sold for $3,800. 5000.1998p off-center strike. More than 50% off-center, valued at $1,500. 5000.1998p double die averse, DDO, can reach $2,000. 10. 000.1998p quarter struck on a dime planchet, sold for $10,000. 20. 000.1998p experimental or foreign planchet error, could be worth $100,000 or more. If an unconfirmed one-of-a-kind mint error or experimental coin is found, it could reach $1.20 million. How to find a valuable 1998p quarter. If you have a 1998p Washington quarter, here's how to check its value. 1. Examine the condition. A high-grade coin, MS68 or higher, is extremely valuable. Look for coins with no scratches, strong luster, and perfect details. Point 2. Look for errors. Use a magnifying glass to check for double die features on the date and lettering. Point 3. Check the weight. A standard quarter weighs 5.67 grams. If your coin is lighter or heavier, it could be a rare planchet error. Point 4. Inspect the strike. An off-center or broad strike error can add significant value. Point 5. Get it graded. If you suspect your quarter is rare, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional certification. Conclusion. While most 1998p Washington quarters are common, rare mint errors, misprints, and high-grade examples can be worth thousands or even millions. If a unique experimental quarter surfaces, it could easily reach $1.2 million at auction. Do you have a valuable 1998p quarter in your collection? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more exciting coin videos. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting! Welcome back, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Rarest coins. Today, we're talking about the 1979D Washington quarter, a coin that could be hiding in your pocket change but might be worth a fortune. While most 1979D quarters are worth only face value, some rare varieties, mint errors, and high-grade specimens have sold for thousands of dollars. There are even rumors of one being worth $1.4 million. Could you have one of these rare coins? Let's dive into the history, value, and the key factors that make certain 1979D quarters extremely valuable. History of the 1979D Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse features Washington's profile, while the reverse showcases a majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and an olive branch. In 1979, the U.S. Mint struck Washington quarters at 3 locations: Philadelphia, P. Mint, no mint mark; Denver, D. Mint mark; 1979 D. San Francisco, S. Mint mark, proof coins only. The 1979D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, with a massive mintage of 489,789,780 coins. Since so many were made, most of them are common and only worth face value. However, certain rare error coins, misprints, and high-grade specimens can be worth thousands, or even millions. Why some 1979D quarters are worth a fortune. The 1979D Washington quarter is typically made of a copper-nickel clad composition, weighing 5.67 grams. However, some coins have unique errors or exceptional conditions that make them incredibly valuable. Here are the key factors that can turn a 1979D quarter into a rare and expensive coin. 1. High-grade condition, MS68 or higher. Most 1979D quarters in circulation have scratches and were data mint state, MS67, MS68. 1979D quarter can sell for $1,500. 5000. A perfect MS69 or MS70 coin could break records and sell for tens of thousands. 2. 1979 D off-center strike errors. If a quarter is struck off-center by 50% or more, but still shows the date, it becomes extremely collectible. These coins can be worth $1,000 to $10,000, depending on how dramatic the error is. 3. 1979 D broad strike errors. A broad strike occurs when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing the edges to be wider than usual. A broad strike 1979 D quarter can sell for $1,000 to $3,000.4. 1979 D double die averse DDO or reverse DDR. A double die error creates a doubling effect on letters or numbers. If you find doubling on Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date, you might have a valuable coin. Some double die quarters have sold for $3,000 to $10,000.5. 1979 D wrong planchet errors. If a quarter was struck on a dime, nickel, or foreign planchet, it's extremely rare. These coins can sell for $5,000 to $50,000, depending on the planchet type. 6. 1979 D experimental planchet errors. In the late 1970s, the U.S. Mint was testing different metal compositions. If a 1979 D quarter was struck on a silver or gold planchet, it could be worth over $100,000 or even $1.40 million. Is there a 1979 D quarter worth $1.40 million? There are rumors of a 1979 D Washington quarter selling for $1.4 million, but is it true? While no confirmed sale has reached this amount, it's possible that a one-of-a-kind mint error, experimental coin, or ultra-high-grade specimen could break records. Some of the most expensive quarters ever sold include 1970s quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter, sold for over $35,000.1965. Quarter struck on a silver planchet, sold for over $10,000. Washington quarters in MS69 MS70 grades. Some have exceeded $10,000. If a 1979 D quarter struck in silver or an unknown experimental composition is discovered, it could easily reach $1.40 million. Most valuable 1979 D quarters ever sold. Here are some of the highest recorded sales for 1979 D quarters. 1979 D quarter, MS68 grade, sold for $4. 200.1979 D off-center strike, more than 50% off-center. Valued at $2,500. 7. 500.1979 D double die averse DDO can reach $3,000. 10. 000.1979 D quarter struck on a dime planchet, sold for $10,000. 20. 000.1979 D experimental or foreign planchet error could be worth $100,000 or more. If a never-before-seen mint error or experimental quarter is found, it could break the $1.4 million mark. How to find a valuable 1979 D quarter. If you have a 1979 D Washington quarter, here's how to check its value. 1. Examine the condition. High-grade coins, MS68 or higher, are extremely valuable. Look for quarters with no scratches, strong luster, and perfect details. 2. Look for errors. Use a magnifying glass to check for double die features on the date and lettering. 3. Check the weight. A normal quarter weighs 5.67 grams. If your coin is lighter or heavier, it might be a rare planchet error. 4. Inspect the strike. An off-center or broad strike error can add significant value. 5. Get it graded. If you suspect your quarter is rare, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional certification. Conclusion. While most 1979 D Washington quarters are only worth face value, rare mint errors, misprints, and high-grade examples can sell for thousands, or even millions. If a unique experimental quarter surfaces, it could become a $1.4 million coin. Do you have a valuable 1979 D quarter in your collection? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more exciting coin videos. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting! Hello, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the hidden gems in your pocket change. Today, we're diving deep into the 1995 D Washington quarter, A coin that might seem ordinary at first glance but could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million if you have the right one. We'll explore its history, key details, mint errors, and rare varieties that make some of these quarters worth big money. Make sure to watch until the end because you don't want to miss the secrets behind this valuable coin. History of the 1995 Washington Quarter. The Washington Quarter has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1932, originally designed to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, it features a portrait of Washington on the obverse, while the reverse showcases a majestic eagle perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches. By 1995, the Washington Quarter had been in circulation for over 6 decades. The Denver Mint, DE Mint mark, produced a staggering 1,103,216,000 quarters that year, meaning most 1995 D quarters are common. However, hidden among them are rare errors and high-grade coins that can be worth thousands, or even millions. Why some 1995 D quarters are extremely valuable. Most 1995 D Washington quarters are worth only face value, but certain rare varieties and mint errors can command massive prices. Here's what makes some 1995 D quarters incredibly valuable. 1. High-grade coins, MS67 or higher, coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS67 MS70 being nearly flawless. A standard 1995 D quarter in circulated condition is worth $0.25 to $1, but if you find one graded MS67 MS68, it could sell for $1,000. 5,000. The highest known grades, MS69 MS70, could break auction records and reach $50,000 or more. 2. 1995 D off-center strike errors. If the coin was struck off-center by 50% or more, it's a major rarity. Depending on the degree of the off-center strike, these can sell for $500 to $10,000. 1995 D double die obverse, DDO, and reverse, DDR, errors. A double die error occurs when the coin's design is imprinted twice, causing visible doubling on letters, numbers, or features. Look closely at Liberty in God We Trust and the date. If you see doubling, you might have a valuable coin. Some double die 1995 D quarters have sold for $2,000 to $10,000.4. 1995 D broad strike errors. A broad strike occurs when the coin is struck without a retaining collar, making it wider than usual. Broad strike quarters from 1995 D can sell for $1,000 to $3,500.5. 1995 D wrong planchet errors. If a quarter was mistakenly struck on a dime, nickel, or even foreign coin planchet, it's an extremely rare find. These can fetch anywhere from $5,000 to over $50,000, depending on the type of planchet used. 6. 1995 D silver or experimental planchet errors. By 1995, quarters were made from copper nickel clad, but sometimes rare mistakes occur. If a 1995 D quarter was struck on a silver or gold planchet, it could be one of a kind and worth over $1.1 million. The $1.1 million 1995 D Washington Quarter, myth or reality? You might be wondering, has a 1995 D quarter really sold for $1.1 million? While no verified sale has reached this number, it's possible that a never-before-seen mint error or experimental planchet could command such a price in the future. Some of the highest sales for Washington quarters include 1970 S quarter struck on a silver Canadian quarter planchet, sold for $35,000.1965. Quarter struck on a silver planchet, sold for $10,000. Any Washington quarter in MS70 condition could reach $50,000 plus. If a 1995 D quarter were found with a major minting anomaly, such as a unique composition or a one-of-a-kind double strike, it could break the $1 million mark. Most valuable 1995 D quarters ever sold. Here are some notable auction results for rare 1995 D quarters. 1995 D quarter, MS68 grade, sold for $4. 200.1995 D off-center strike, more than 50%. Sold for $2,500. 7. 500.1995 D double die obverse, DDO, sold for $3,000. 10,000.1995 quarter struck on a dime planchet, sold for $10,000. 20,000.1995 experimental or foreign planchet error, estimated to be worth $100,000 or more. If a brand new, never before seen mint error emerges, we could be looking at a $1.1 million discovery. How to identify a valuable 1995 quarter. If you have a 1995 Washington quarter, here's how to check if it's valuable. 1. Examine the condition. Coins in high grades, MS 67 or higher, are rare. Look for quarters with no scratches, strong luster, and sharp details. 2. Check for errors. Use a magnifying glass to look for double die errors on the lettering and date. 3. Weigh the coin. A regular quarter weighs 5.67 grams. If yours is lighter or heavier, it might be a wrong planchet error. 4. Look for off-center strikes. The more off-center the coin, the higher the value. 5. Get it professionally graded. If you think you have a rare error, send it to PCGS or NGC for certification. Final thoughts. Could you have a $1.1 million 1995 quarter? While most 1995 Washington quarters are worth only face value, certain mint errors, high-grade specimens, and unique varieties can sell for thousands, or even millions. If a never-before-seen error or experimental quarter is found, it could become the $1.1 million coin of the future. Do you have a valuable 1995 quarter in your collection? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more exciting coin videos. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!